Hello everybody. I'm doing a live in my Facebook group and then I'll probably pop this video up onto YouTube. So the purpose of this video is to go through anything that comes up for September energy, as well as a personal update with me, some exciting news with my spiritual stuff. So I'll mention that too. Okay, so September. All right, first, as usual, and it's a natural process, the angels like to rewind, right? So instead of jumping forward, because so many of us do, I'm probably like the leader of the pack of wanting to move forward quicker than when the time is ready, and especially as an Aries. But what they're saying is you need to go back before you go forward. So meaning in August, there were some things still, it feels like there are some things that are still not sorted. It feels like the angels are showing me. So sometimes when I give a reading, things happen with my hands that are just energy things that express messages sometimes. But they're sort of doing this, like it's not quite together. And now they're showing me a Rubik's Cube. So it's like you see in your mind what you'd like is the full picture of the Rubik's Cube, all complete with every flat color on every side. But what you're seeing is a jumbled mess, and they're even showing me, like when you pull out those pieces, which we used to do in the 80s. I know there's better Rubik's Cubes out there these days, cool ones. I used to pull apart all the pieces, right? And then pretend we did it and put it back together. But no matter what we do, we can't jam those pieces together. This is a message I feel I've had before, but it's come through previously as puzzle pieces, but this time they're particularly showing me Rubik's Cube pieces. And they're joking that angels are funny. Angels are funny, and it's lovely to work with them again because it's been some time for me since I was away in Croatia on a big holiday, which was awesome, by the way. So the Rubik's Cube is giving that extra feeling of it being difficult, cryptic, right? You can't solve everything. Or I put 3 whites in a row, but then the red's in the way and I can't quite, and the other side it's only got 1 or 2. So it's not being able to quite put things together. And they're saying it's like shifts, because when you move that Rubik's Cube from one side to another and you twist those, not just sides, because this is how the universe is complex, saying it's like a quantum soup of complexity, where you could wind one row, so to speak, and then a column, if I just say it that way, and a complete shift has occurred, right? And that's just one aspect. So we've been undergoing a series of shifts, and shifts they're showing me as things are like this and then it turns around like that. And when we turn around like that, that's when the light comes on it. So think of it as a stone that's been turned this way, and it's all sort of dark under it and cave-like. And then there's a shift and the sun's on it and there's all this light and there's a whole new vista ahead. So that's what they mean when they do that. So there's been a series of shifts, and you would have felt probably about roughly 2-3 days ago, roughly, you might have noticed a little bit of a difference. And before that, you might have been going through a bit of a slump. I know I sure did. But I also went through my personal slump for a couple of reasons. One, after my big holiday, which was amazing. It's pretty natural to go into a bit of a depression after that. But also, with all my personal stuff with that. And then also because I've been wanting so long to get moving in my spiritual business. So it was frustrating me, and there's all these, more blocks, delays, this, that. But I get it. I always told the message that, it's about divine timing. There's timing for everything, and it's not always when we want it. And sometimes we're stubborn and we want it to be the way we want it, when we want it, and we want to jump ahead, and it goes back to that initial message. Instead of leaping ahead, let's go back and see what needs to be organized. Okay. So in September, and now we're sort of undergoing, and it's interesting, there's been this Uranus energy, and Uranus is not I'm not an astrologer, so I feel into the energy of things, and I know about other planets and the energy, but Uranus is actually when I realized, I don't know much about this Uranus energy. I haven't felt into it much before, it hasn't come into my consciousness, but everything's for a reason, right? It makes sense that it would come into my consciousness now if it's playing a bit of a part at the moment in a retrograde. But the Uranus energy is last month, or whenever that started, sometimes I can't remember about time, whether it was, 1 week ago, whatever it was. It felt strange, and particularly because we have to remember that an energy such as, let's just say, Uranus energy in 1990 would feel so different to Uranus energy now in the 2020s, because our energy as a planet has shifted so much, and then everything is reflected back to the greater cosmos and everything is connected. So it felt, in terms of other energy coming in, because we have these, I keep saying that I'll eventually make a video on the Schumann Resonance, which is the heartbeat of the earth, and it records on a chart when grand fluxes of light are coming in. And when that happens, you can feel the shift. And I've mentioned it before in other videos, right? If you've got your gunk, the angels showed me yesterday an image for today, which is, I guess it's similar to other message I've said, but they've shown me as a pipe. So imagine you're a pipe and all your stuff is the stuff inside the pipe, like all the clogged up stuff, right? So you've got your clogged up mud and gunk and whatever. And so when we're full of stuff, right, because we're processing stuff, we're not in a good way, when that light comes in, it's harder, that it can't push down. So it's like water trying to go down a pipe. It can't actually push through and get through, or it's harder, it might seep through a few cracks, or it all gets clogged up together in this even bigger gunky pile that can feel a number of different ways, especially as empaths. When we're carrying this energy on us, we can feel it physically, otherwise we're feeling it anyway, mentally, emotionally, and so on. And when it's so clogged up, it can feel, for example, like a big rock in your stomach, or can feel like a number of things. You can feel it here building up, and you got that stress and the anxiety and the tension. However, when we've been working through stuff consciously, and we're just at that part of the journey where it's like, yes, I've done my learning, I'm ready for the next steps, and that light comes in, where this clearer vessel, this more empty pipe, for the water to just flush down and flush through. So even if there's some remnants, it will be easier. So that's what they're showing there. And so with the Uranus coming in energy, and the let's just say the light coming in, and this changing of realities all the time. And I would like to talk more about changing realities down the track as well. There is, I talk about these shifting timelines, because it's not just a sci-fi concept that's come out of nowhere, right? And I'm very grounded in my spirituality, and I don't like to talk about nonsense things, and I use my discernment wisely. But when I have a feeling for something, it's because I've experienced it, and I've experienced it, and I've experienced it. And as an intuitive and as an energy healer, and someone that's sort of constantly absorbing and consciously aware and moving through awareness for myself, for my family, and for others, and through my work, then you have a sense of what's true, or what resonates, and what doesn't. And that develops over time as you sort of move into your own discernment and wisdom. And no one's perfect in that. But with the timelines shifting, there's a distinct feeling, right? So let's say, for example, here's one that they're showing me. It's like, let's say you... the night before is one reality, and then you wake up, just to make it really basic, and then you wake up and it's a new reality, right? So if you imagine at nighttime, let's say you fall asleep and the light's off, but let's say there's a shift at, say, 6 o'clock in the morning, and imagine a big bright light has been turned on in the room. So when you wake up, of course you're going to be startled because of the bright light, but it's like the energy of this new reality, and it's a higher reality, and you're like, whoo, when you wake up as if you'd already had a booster coffee, and off you go. You're in this new reality, you get things done, and it's like everything, you might notice there can be subtle things, or it can be huge, like everything seems different. I feel like even although I'm in the same place, the same area, even when I'm driving or going to the mall, you feel this difference, right? So experiment with that. Maybe you've experienced that. Please do write a message, like share your experiences of it. But that has been going on. So where I'm leading to that is with Uranus energy, it was feeling a bit strange, like a strange new energy. Almost like when I'm going to say the word alien, but I don't mean little green monsters out there. I mean alien as in foreign, like a foreign a foreign energy, just different to before. So there was a slight element of strangeness or weirdness or not quite something I felt before, or however you want to interpret that. So have a think about how you might have experienced that as well, which also explains any moments or extended moments of insanity that you might have felt. You know, we can all laugh about it, but this is where you walk around the house feel like you're going crazy. And it happens, definitely happened to me, so it's how it goes. So for September, starting on September 1st, which is a big date for me because that is my date, it's sealed in stone. That's when Spiritual Course Academy is opening, and I'm doing a grand opening event where on that day, which by the way, that might be August the 31st in some time zones, but I will be sending emails about that. That information will all be clear. So I'm doing a Zoom at 11 o'clock Melbourne time on September 1st in the morning, and I'm going to do another one at 8 p.m. so that different time zones are catered for in different people's schedules. And it's just for an hour on Zoom, getting together, celebrating, meeting other people. I'll do a meditation, I might pull some oracle cards and so on. And so I'd love you to join, and I welcome you to join. So even with Spiritual Course Academy, I have done classes before. This is the first time that I will have an online course ready. So this is, for me, when my opening is. On September 1st also, I'll be launching my first course called Reset Your Life, and I'll talk more about, you'll be hearing more from me about those things soon. So I'm really excited about that. And this is the perfect time as well. And this is where it's all divine timing, because I was in such a muddy state of chaotic gunkiness and frustration with why couldn't this just come about sooner, and all of this. And I always feel like, oh, there's people waiting and all that stuff, but everything is for a reason. If there's anything that you feel delayed with, the stagnation is for a reason, right? And I can talk to you about those reasons another time. So below this video, I'll pop a link if you want to know more information about that. I'm going to talk about September energy in a moment, but I just wanted to say, so September 1st, grand opening of Spiritual Course Academy and the launch of the online course Reset Your Life, which has got 6 modules. It's really big, and I'm just super happy and proud of it. Some meditations also have music in there, and I've done everything myself. I spent a lot of time on it in every single detail. And I'm very thorough. I'm an English teacher myself, and I'm one of those people where if I go learn something, I get frustrated if everything's not in order. So I'm a little bit, that would be my OCD. I like everything to be in order, simple but thorough, and that's really important to me. And I really think about what information I'm putting in and not putting in. And then after that, I'm just going to have so many more courses and offers. It's going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that. So during the month of September, I'm celebrating the opening of all this stuff. So I'll be having several free classes, okay? So on September 1st, there's 2 different grand opening Zoom 1 hour get-togethers. And then a week after, on Thursday, the 8th of September, Melbourne time, which might be Wednesday 31st for some time zones. Like, for example, I think it's about 9 p.m. New York time, but I'll tell you all that on a Wednesday. I'm going to have a 3-week free group coaching series, and the title is Are You Ready for Change? And it really is the perfect time for Are You Ready for Change? And we go through each week. We'll go through, there'll be some of me giving information, doing teaching. You'll do workbook and journaling, and you'll get together with other like-mindeds that come together in the classes, and you'll have breakout rooms, which if you've ever been on a Zoom breakout room, that just means we're all together, and then there'll be moments where you break out into pairs or little mini groups, and you discuss whatever the theme is, or whatever questions that I put through. So it really is quite interactive, and it really is based, me coming through as an energy healer, as a teacher, as an intuitive. Everything that I do, that is moving through it. So when I'm teaching from an intuitive stance. That's how I do my spiritual coaching one-on-one. And that's what makes it unique as well, is that I decided, or what was natural to me, was to put my intuitive energy awareness through the educational work. So through one-on-one sessions, so that it's, and that makes it not just, that makes it some in a group setting, still tailor-made individually, because the energy is speaking through the group, which I love. So that's on for 3 weeks from September 8th Melbourne time, and then on September 22nd Melbourne time, which is a Thursday as well, 11 a.m, just a group meetup. So anyone who wants to come, like a general group meetup, they're all on Zoom and they're all free. I'm also going to have giveaways and stuff like that, so I'll talk about that separately. So for September, there are a number of retrogrades. We've got Uranus retrograde, or Uranus, however you like to say it, because it is one of those funny named planets. And a number of retrogrades, right? And there's Mercury retrograde coming up, and I really wanted to launch my stuff just before it goes it goes wild with Mercury retrograde as well. We're in the pre-shadow phase now, so that will be happening. And really, you know, with these retrogrades, they're about those rewords, which Reset Your Life is all about. Rewords: renew, restore, reinvigorate, review. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, right? And so, and there's that real sense of sort of renewal and resetting. When there's energy shifts, there's a reset, right? It's like you flick the switch, and then a whole new vista is there as the light is on. Okay, so what I did for let's see, I wrote some notes. Is there anything else I want to say? Yeah, so it feels like for September, there's some smoothing out, there's some niceness, and also it's change of seasons. So for me, spring in Australia, for a bunch of you, it's autumn, and we have the spring equinox on the 22nd, right? And so, or autumn equinox, and you know, there's so that's all lovely. September's often like quite nice like that, but we want to be wrapping things up. All the stuff that you've been learning, you want to wrap up, okay? Because there'll be moments of time with all the retrogrades that it feels like a stagnation, or you're going back, or you're on pause, but it's time to reflect and to really rethink things and to work through those things from August and even before, because we've had such a sort of an energy wave that's been changing and moving through from about May, June, July, right? August got a bit scratchy there, and into September you want to smooth things out, but it might feel that things are a bit rocky or unsettled for some periods of time as well, like the ground's a bit shaky, or that you've sort of been pulled in to not move forward even if you want to. So don't fight it. Go with the flow, and you'll find you'll come out better for it, because you always come out better for it when you do the work, right? Okay, so outside of that, I pulled some cards for this one, and I felt a bit old school with this. Some of the cards, one of the oracle decks, it's actually called the Psychic Tarot. It's not very traditional tarot. It's by John Holland. He's amazing. It's always just been a really great deck for me that I used to use when I used to always do oracle card readings, right, on YouTube. Years ago. So, and actually interestingly, because I felt the energy of that card, but just one card came up with that one, and that was Stand Your Ground. And the feeling here is, this all gives me that September energy feeling. It gives me the equinox feeling. It gives me the feeling of not in September, but afterwards sometime we'll be moving into the eclipse season. So I feel like prepare now for the eclipse season. So everything I was saying just before, all that work that you're doing, right? It's to prepare you for the eclipses, right? And standing your ground means that there's things that have been coming up to the surface from recent times and through August, things in your mind or previously. And if you haven't quite got it together again, like that Rubik's Cube, it's time to get it together, and to then stand your ground, right, with what it is that you want, and affirm that so that you can move forwards. And there's a really big spiritual energy feeling with that. The angels are also reminding us to lean on them and God, right, to source for inspiration, for guidance. Sometimes we forget, even myself, who, you know, like I work with the angels and so on, but, you know, plenty of times I forget to talk to them, and I always have to sticky note, remind myself, right? But this really lovely card from a Crystal Angels deck, which I really love too, and I just felt the energy of it. It says spiritual or religious community, right? So this is really made me think of all the Zoom rooms that I'm organizing for September and for the grand opening and so on. Join with like-minded people for friendship, right? And that word friendship, as I say, I feel for some people, I feel hurt, I feel pain, I feel in your friendships, you've been at a crossroads, there's been people that have bothered you, that haven't been in touch, or you haven't been wanting to be in touch with, changes and shifts in friendships, and it's time to move towards, and it says here, increased spiritual growth and being around spiritual people more and moving up that next level, or at least preparing to. So that's one of the things that I love about the work that I'm doing in Spiritual Course Academy, is through community and through all the stuff that I'm going to be bringing to you. It's for me so important that people feel safe and empowered as energy sensitives and empaths, which is why I also started the Facebook group, Spiritual Development for Empaths and Energy Sensitives, because it's so important, because we've been through so much, and we know what it's like, right? And everyone still is different. There's still diversity in that spectrum, but it's about celebrating who you are. So for example, in the Zoom classes that I'll be offering, it's not just, it's not all about me and my stuff. It's all for you. So it's about celebrating you and who you are. And I feel emotional with that, as in for some people, it's you've been hiding, or you've not been able to be who you truly are. And that does move in layers, and there's different layers for that. Sometimes we do have to put on a bit of a face for certain situations, or for work around certain people and so on. But this is really, really, really speaking of getting together as a spiritual, and in terms of spiritual friendships and groups and so on. So I definitely welcome you in on that level. But whatever that means for you personally, perhaps you've been thinking about something else, like taking some other class, or doing yoga, or like collecting crystals, or going to like a shop where there's a nice lady that you like to speak to, or getting out there a bit more. Okay, so outside of that, remember, through September, take time to breathe and accept this big bold writing. Accept your struggles as lessons. I've definitely had to do that. I mean, how many more lessons? I'm like an encyclopedia of lessons. I bet you all feel that way, right? So accepting what is, and you'll find there's so much peace when you accept things. That could also be accepting a person and how they are. Sorry, I didn't mean this session to go on so long, but almost done. Okay, so outside of that, in September, I use these Crystal Ally cards, which are bigger. I prefer smaller sized, like the Hay House size cards, but I love this deck for talking about an overview of the energy, an overview of energy themes. So we have here insight. So you're moving in, as you move more into you, as you do the things, renew, review, reset, reintegrate, all that stuff, then the insight will emerge. And that's what the angels say. That's why they're saying, remember, we're here too. Look for the signs, speak to us, and God's source, okay? And you're going through an initiation. This very much reminded me of the reset your life, the course I'm doing, because it's like walking through a gateway of change. And are you ready for that change? And that's why the group coaching classes that start on September 8th Melbourne time are about, it's actually called Are You Ready for Change? Because it's like, are you ready for change? And then we go through all your hesitation and your fears and what you might want to change, and then the motivation and mindset to move in that direction. So when you get a card like this, it's like you're on the eve of exploring yourself, going the next level personally, being the you that you truly are, that you feel inside. And with that, lots of fears come up. For example, yesterday, I've really wanted to do my launch on September the 1st. And when I say launch, it's a soft launch. It doesn't mean, nothing major, like it's not something I'm investing in a big way or anything like that. But it's very special and meaningful for me. And I do want to spread awareness and get together with everybody, because it's really important, and get to know you and connect with you on a deeper level. But this initiation is like moving in that next level of who you are, and not being afraid to take the next step, addressing the fears that come up. That's right, that's what I was going to say. So yesterday I just was just like so fearful of that something would go wrong, right? Because I've got laptop issues, I've got this, I've got that. So, you know, and I knew that I would move through it, but it was always like, oh God, if I say this is happening on September 1st, what if something happens? Especially because I get migraines too, but I'm just moving forward and moving through, okay? So that's what I encourage everyone else to do. And hi, Natalie, I'm so glad that you're watching. Anything else? And feel free to write a message. So apart from that, there's been lots of inner child healing where you're really working on, you know, everyone will be different with this. It could be parental stuff, it could be ancestral stuff, it could be with your own children and just your inner stuff, right? The inner stuff where you get a little bit hurt inside of yourself and you got some old stuff in there deep down, right? Or you're feeling a bit fragile or sensitive, all that stuff. So see what's been coming up for you or what potentially still will. And it's about nurturing that and having the courage, right? So it's really interesting if I put these two. So I'd go, okay, let's put these cards together. We've got the insight here at the peak of the mountain. We've got a black moon, which is really interesting. But see this is what happens in a reading, the show me something, which I might not have ever noticed before. See how it's on this very tippy point of this white hill. And so it's showing me it's precarious, right? Like a bowling ball that's just balancing and anything could make everything shatter or fall. So that's representing the energy there and you there. We've got the protection eye symbol there, but what it's really standing for here is the insight in terms of the third eye. But they're also giving me the feeling of you need to be grounded. So when we want to go up into the outer spheres or when we're changing, we're developing our spirituality, it could be so up here, right? But it's really important to stay grounded and be embodied and to embody earth energy and be strong in your own energy while you're receiving. And that's where the true and deeper insight comes and you're able to hold it and not get carried away and fly away and be in fantasy land, okay? So then from there, we move into the nurture, which I've mentioned, right? The inner child healing. That's what that gives me the feeling of, the emotions, the water, just very healing energy, okay? Nice and soft. And then from that initiation, having the courage to move forward. So there's the doorways, there's that bright white energy. It's like selenite. I've got a selenite crystal, which I won't get it because I've got a microphone attached to me and everything will probably fall apart. So, you know, this beautiful white light doorway, right? And it really is an initiation, right? And this is you. So do share in the comments what might this initiation be for you? What are you feeling or anything about anything I've mentioned? And then having the courage, right? Walk the plank. Walk the plank, but see, it goes to the other side, right? And, you know, you're still on this side, but you're ready, you got your shield and you're being careful, you're balancing yourself, you know, and there is light coming down on the upper torso, right? The light coming into the higher chakras. And there's this fire energy and this change, the purple energy around of change. So transmutational, transformational energy. So, all right, I'm going to wrap up all of that. Thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to meeting you, to, you know, really connecting with you on a deeper level. So, so get in touch, share messages and talk real soon. Okay, bye.